Hello class 9th, hope you all are good. Now today we will continue the revision of chapter 2, that is your chemical changes and reactions. Now in this video today we will discuss about the displacement reaction, double decomposition reaction, neutralization reaction and is your photochemical and thermal reactions and exothermic and endothermic reactions. So children, just go through this electrochemical series, which also I'll explain you, and so that you can easily know how the displacement reaction takes place. Right, let's continue first this displacement reaction. Okay, what is displacement reaction, or it is also called substitution reaction? A reaction, a chemical reaction which takes place when an element or radical has replaced another element in a compound. And suppose this X plus YZ, or you can say that magnesium when react with HCl, it forms what? MgCl2 plus H2, means this magnesium replaces hydrogen, right? And it comes in place of a hydrogen and forms MgCl2 plus H2, right? So but the ability of an element to displace another is determined by its relative position in the electrochemical series. Actually the matters are arranged in a series on the basis of their reactivity, because some matters they are highly reactive, some are less reactive and some are least reactive. So on the basis of their reactivity they are arranged in a series, and that series is called metal activity series. Now just look at here. This is a metal activity series where potassium is at the top, sodium, then calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, lead, then hydrogen, then copper, then mercury, and then silver and platinum. Potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, these are at the top, and these are highly electropositive and reactive metals, right? So these metals, those are at the top, that they can displace the metal which is below in the activity series. For example, potassium can displace sodium, sodium can displace calcium, calcium can displace magnesium from their salt. Okay, aluminum, same way magnesium can displace aluminum from its salt, zinc can displace iron from its salt, or iron can displace lead from its salt, or zinc, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron can displace copper from its salt, because the position of copper is below these active metals, right? So just look at the example. For example, this zinc sulfate, when zinc react with copper sulfate, it forms what? Zinc sulfate and copper, means zinc replace this copper from its salt and forms zinc sulfate and copper. Same way chlorine position is above bromine. So chlorine when react with potassium bromide, it forms potassium chloride and bromine. Why? Because position of chlorine is above bromine. So chlorine can replace bromine, right? Now you can just understand this activity series like this. Suppose there is a company. In a company, a boss can replace his employee, but employee cannot replace his boss. Means the matters, those are at the top, they can displace or replace their the matters which are below in the activity series, right? Now okay, one more. Suppose keep your equation is copper plus zinc sulfate. Can copper replace this zinc? No. And this reaction is not possible. Why? Why this reaction is not possible? Because copper position is below zinc. That's why copper cannot replace zinc. Or you can say because zinc position is at the top above the copper. So copper cannot replace zinc, right? The same way matters like magnesium, aluminum, zinc and iron, they can displace copper from copper sulfate. Look at here, magnesium plus copper sulfate forms magnesium sulfate and copper. Aluminium plus copper sulfate can form aluminium sulfate and copper. Iron plus copper sulfate can give you product what? Iron 2 sulfate and copper, because the position of magnesium, aluminium and iron, their position is above copper. So these matters can easily displace this copper from its salt. Right? Now matters above hydrogen in the electrochemical series, that is your active matters, are seen to displace hydrogen from dilute acids. All of you, you know that when in the preparation of hydrogen you have read that active matters when react with acids, they give hydrogen gas. Why? Because this reaction is possible. Just look at here, the magnesium position is above hydrogen in the activity series. Just see here, the position of hydrogen is here. Okay, and all these matters, those are above hydrogen. They can displace this hydrogen from from their acid. That's why these active matters, they can displace hydrogen from the dilute acids, and that's why the reaction is possible. Magnesium will react with hydrochloric acid. It forms this magnesium replaces this hydrogen from magnesium chloride. Same way, zinc when react with sulfuric acid, zinc can replace this hydrogen and form zinc sulfate, and which gas is formed? Hydrogen gas is formed. The same way, when iron react with sulfuric acid, it gives you iron 2 sulfate and hydrogen gas. And iron when react with dilute hydrochloric acid, it forms iron 2 chloride and hydrogen gas. Okay, now next is your double decomposition reaction, or it is also called precipitation reaction. What is this double decomposition reaction? It is a chemical reaction in which both the reactant are decomposed to give two new compounds by exchanging their radicals. For example, XY is a compound when react with AB is another compound, then they both break down, right? And they and form new compounds by exchanging their radical. Means X come in place of A, and A come in place of X. So what is formed? XB. Another product is your XB, and second is one is your A Y. X come in place of A, so what form? XB, and A come in place of X, and XY is another product is formed by exchanging their radicals. Now what are precipitation reaction? The reaction between two compounds in aqueous solution state to give two new compounds, and one of which is insoluble, and that insoluble compound is formed a precipitate, right? Which is insoluble. Generally they are insoluble, but in some cases they may be soluble. Now for example, calcium chloride when react with sodium carbonate, both they will break down, and calcium comes in place of sodium. So what is formed? Calcium carbonate, and sodium comes in place of calcium and forms sodium chloride, right? Sodium chloride and calcium carbonate is formed, and you get a white precipitate of this calcium carbonate. Now next is your zinc nitrate when react with sodium carbonate, then forms sodium nitrate and zinc carbonate, right? Next is your zinc sulfate when react with ammonium carbonate, forms ammonium sulfate and zinc carbonate. Same white precipitate is formed. Here next is your lead nitrate when react with sodium chloride, it gives you sodium nitrate and lead chloride. Here is also white precipitate of lead 2 chloride is formed. Same way, when lead 2 nitrate react with sodium sulfate, you get a sodium nitrate and lead 2 sulfate, which they all are insoluble precipitates are formed, right? Now next is your, and this use of precipitation reaction is actually in analytical chemistry. Actually, these precipitation reactions are used in analytical chemistry to identify the given salt, okay, and or identify the given positive radical in a salt by analyzing the color of the precipitate. For example, when iron 2 sulfate react with sodium hydroxide, and in analytical chemistry generally we use these two alkalis, either sodium hydroxide or ammonium hydroxide. And what is your reaction? Sodium sulfate plus iron 2 hydroxide is formed. So you get a dirty green precipitate of iron 2 hydroxide is formed, which is insoluble in excess of sodium hydroxide. Same way, when iron 3 chloride react with sodium hydroxide, it gives sodium chloride and iron 3 hydroxide, which is also, and what is the color of this iron 3 hydroxide? Reddish brown. And what is the color of iron 2 hydroxide? It is what? Dirty green. Now next is your copper sulfate. When react with sodium hydroxide, it gives sodium sulfate and copper hydroxide, and you get pale blue precipitate of this copper 2 hydroxide, which is also insoluble in excess of sodium hydroxide. Zinc sulfate, when react with sodium hydroxide, it gives sodium sulfate and zinc hydroxide, and you get gelatinous white precipitate, which is soluble in excess of sodium hydroxide. Actually, in the starting you get a gelatinous white precipitate, but if you add more sodium hydroxide in that solution, then what you will get? You get a soluble white, you get a white solution of zinc amine is okay, when you add excess of sodium hydroxide, then this gelatinous white precipitate is soluble and form what? Sodium zincate. Now next is your lead nitrate. When react with sodium hydroxide, it gives you sodium nitrate and lead hydroxide, which is you get what? Chalky white precipitate of lead hydroxide, which is also soluble in excess of what? Sodium hydroxide, right? And it forms sodium plumbite. Okay, now next is your neutralization reaction. Is a reaction which takes place between acid and base. When acid react with bases, they form always new compound, that is your salt and water, by interchange of radicals. And this is also a type of double decomposition reaction, because where sodium hydroxide when react with hydrochloric acid, actually they also here exchange both the compounds they decompose, and new compounds are formed by exchanging their radicals. And then salt and this Na combined with Cl, NaCl and H plus OH, that is your water is formed. Yep. And always remember, whenever an acid react with the base, it always gives salt and water, and the reaction is called neutralization reaction, and it is also a type of double decomposition reaction. Same way, we can prepare many soluble salts by the action of insoluble base with acids, and they always form salt and water, right? Now next is your preparation of soluble salts by double decomposition reaction, or by neutralization reaction from soluble base and acid. These are soluble bases. NaOH, sodium hydroxide, when react with hydrochloric acid, form sodium chloride, that is your soluble salt, and water. Same way, when it react with sodium hydroxide react with nitric acid, it gives you sodium nitrate and water. And so question may ask, name any two soluble salts. So these are two soluble salts, and these are insoluble bases. But name two soluble bases. And what are soluble bases? These are alkalis. So these are alkalis when react with acid, they also form salt and water. And which salts are formed? Soluble salts are formed. Right. Now next is your what is the application or use of neutralization reaction. Actually, when a string of a bee or wasp is acidic in nature, when a bee sting, then what's happened? You can use sodium hydroxide bicarbonate on which is a basic substance and can be used to nullify or neutralize the effect of this acid. Actually, the sting of bee is acidic in nature. So you can neutralize this acidic nature of this bee by applying sodium bicarbonate, and which is a what, alkaline in nature. So when alkalis or bases react with acid, they neutralize their effect, and that's where in this way you can get relief from that sting of bee. The same way, a heartburn due to acidity in the stomach can be relieved by taking an antacid which is alkaline and neutralizes the acidity in the stomach, right? Next is your exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction. What are exothermic reaction? The reaction in which proceeds with evolution of heat energy are called what? These reactions are called exothermic reaction. And endothermic reaction which are proceed with absorption of heat energy. Right? Now exothermic reactions are, for just examples are given here. The exothermic reactions: when nitrogen react with hydrogen, then ammonia is formed and it evolved what? Heat. So when exothermic reactions are denoted by this triangle plus what? Triangle T, means heat is evolved, right? But in case of endothermic reaction, you will write minus triangle T, means heat is absorbed. Let's go through these reactions. Now next is your photochemical reactions. The reactions which proceed with the absorption of light energy, and all of very good example of photochemical reaction is your process of photosynthesis. This is a process of photosynthesis. When carbon dioxide reacts with water, it gives you glucose, water and oxygen gas. The same way, this hydrogen and chlorine, when they are react in a presence of diffuse sunlight, then it forms hydrogen chloride gas, right? Now next is your electrochemical reaction. There are some chemical reactions which proceed with the absorption of electrical energy. For example, water can be break down into its component by passing electric current. But remember, pure water doesn't conduct electricity. Acidified water, when you pass electric current through a acidified water, then it breaks down into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. The same way, when you pass electric current through a molten or fuse means melting one. When sodium chloride is in molten state, when you pass electric current, then it break down into sodium ions and chlorine ions, right? Okay, thank you children. Just go through all these reactions and learn them. Okay, thank you.